Hello everybody, I'm back. I want to show you my chickens. I pulled the poop tray out a little bit just to show you how little feed is packed out into the tray. Now, to you non-chicken people, you might think that's a lot of feed. That is very little. Very little feed. As if I would have had a feeder like this, let me go through the mess here. Back in my cabinet I have several of these metal style feeders that would go into that type of brooder setup. Let me flip around. If I used one of those feeders, it would be bad. Those guys would have beaked the food out and into the bedding, and when I went to change the bedding, I would have to dump all the feed that they beaked out into the bedding. And again, we talked about coxy in the first video. That's exactly how they get coxy too, is they scratch or beak their food out into the bedding, and then it gets mixed with poo and they eat it, and coxy protozoa just multiply like madmen in their intestines, and then they get sick. It's overcast here today. I don't know how long we're gonna last without rain, but I called the electric company today and I talked to a representative about the cost of electric, and I figured out what we're paying per kilowatt hour. There's a couple different rates. If you use more than a certain amount of kilowatts a month, your rate drops per kilowatt hours. So I'm going to go with the higher amount just for the video's purpose, because I don't know how much kilowatts we're going to actually use by the end of the month. Well, I'm back to discuss the cost of electric with my chickens. One of the other things I did is I came down to Culver, Indiana, which is about 10 minutes from the house. And where I live, everything's 10 minutes from the house. Just to show you, I love it that today is a 60-degree day and this lake is frozen solid. You know, we've been just look at that lake. Ice everywhere. Now, the cost for I'm getting rained on it. I'm not good with this camera. The cost of electric is about 0.116 cents, or 11. So it's about 12 cents a kilowatt hour. The 250 watt bulb we uses 6 kilowatts a day. It costs about 70 cents a day to use that bulb. I added on 35 cents because that brooder I have has a built-in heater, which is also 250 watts, but it's hooked to a thermostat, so it's only on partial, so I'm estimating this part. So I'm adding another 35 cents a day for that additional heater, which is also a backup if my light were to burn out. I have a second heat source, which is always good, because when you sleep, it only takes a few hours for damage to be done. So I estimate for this project it's going to cost $31.50 for electric going to these birds. That is, I'm going to use the bulb for 4 weeks, and at 3 weeks I will reevaluate if I need heat or not, because if you remember, the chicks were a week old according to the feed store when I got them, but at 3 weeks I'll evaluate their feathering and decide if I need to continue heat, and we will adjust to the electric costs at that time. Thanks.